Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this cargo pocket with a box split, which you can use on cargo pants, cargo skirts, and any other item you'd want to use it on. I'll also be showing you two different methods on how you can do it, so you can choose which one works better for you. This video is very detailed and very beginner friendly, so if you're interested in this, make sure to watch until the end. Alright, let's get right into the video. So these are the three pieces we're going to be using for this pocket. This is going to be the main piece. For the length, we're going to be using 7 3/4. For starters, I want my final pocket measurements to be 6 by 6 for the length and the width. So how we're going to get the length that we're going to cut out is we're going to get that 6 and add 1 1/4 inches for the top hem. What I mean by the top hem is that part that we're going to fold at the top. And then we shall add 0.5 inches, and that will be for the sewing allowance at the bottom. And so the total of that is 7 3/4. Moving on to the width. Remember, our final width should be 6 inches, so we shall add 2.5 inches for the box split and then 1 inch for the side sewing allowances. That gives us 9.5. Moving on to the flap piece. Similar to the final width of my main piece of the pocket, my flap is also going to have a final width of 6 inches, and then I'll be adding 1 inch to that for the side sewing allowances. That's 0.5 inches on both sides. And then moving on to the length, on fold it's 3.5 inches, and then when you open it up it's 7 inches. We also added a soft stiff interfacing that is 7 inches by 3.5 inches. For the length of this strip, we're going to be using your final pocket measurements. So since my pocket is 6 by 6, I'm going to be adding 6 plus 6 plus 6. That's for the length on one side, the width at the bottom, and the length on the other side. And then you can add extra allowance to that, 2 inches, 3 inches, whatever you want. And then the width for this piece is 2 inches. Now we're going to start on the sewing process. We shall be getting this main piece and we're going to be folding it into two, and this is on the right side of the fabric. What I mean is that we're looking at the right side of the fabric right now. So remember, the allowance we left for our box split was 2.5 inches, so we shall get half of that, and that gives us 1 1/4 inches. So you're just going to go ahead and mark 1 1/4 inches, and then you're going to draw a line. Remember, this is on the right side of the fabric. Next thing is we're going to go and stitch it just like that. At this point, I'm already done with that. As you can see, that's what it's looking like. Next thing is we're going to open up that part, and then we're going to lay it flat like that. Make sure it's equal on both sides, and then we're going to go and press it with a flat iron. As you can see, that's the outcome. If you want, you can leave it just like this and then turn it to the wrong side and hem the top part using 1 1/4 inches. But in my case, I want to add the top stitch detail on both sides of the pleat, so I'm going to go ahead and top stitch on both sides using less than 1/4 inch. So as you can see, I'm just going to hold it like that, and then I'm going to be top stitching using 1/8 inch. I'll go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side as well. After you're done, this is what it should look like. It gives a more sophisticated look. Make sure you go and press it with a flat iron and then turn it to the wrong side, and remember we left 1 1/4 inches for the hem at the top, so we shall fold it in just like you see me do in the video. We shall fold it twice and then go ahead and hem it. As you can see, that's what it's looking like. Moving on, we're now going to be attaching the black strip to this main piece, and then I'm going to be showing you two methods. One of the methods here is basically putting this strip all around the fabric, right sides facing each other, and taking it all the way to the other side. But first, I'm going to start by showing you the much easier method. We're going to be folding in the edges by 0.5 inches on the wrong side, and then we shall be pressing it with a flat iron. On the main piece, we shall be doing it on those sides and at the bottom. As you can see at this point, I've already finished doing that. That's what it's looking like on the right side of the fabric. Also for the black strip, we've already finished doing that on both sides. This method is going to be very fast. We shall just be holding the black piece and placing it 1/4 inch away from the top, and then we shall just be stitching it just like that. Wrong sides facing each other, and then we shall just be stitching it. When we reach that part, we shall just turn it like that, and reach that part and turn it like that. I'm going to be showing you how to do it in the next clip. We shall start by marking 1/4 inch below the top, and then we're going to place the pieces wrong sides facing each other just like that, and then I'm going to start the stitching process. We shall just top stitch it until we reach the bottom corner. When we reach the bottom corner, we shall just turn it just like you see me doing the video. After you've positioned them properly, then you can continue top stitching. Make sure that the black piece is not visible at the top. it should either be exactly at the same level of the brown piece or slightly tucked in below the brown piece. Generally, the black piece should not be protruding. Anyways, we shall just flip it like that and then continue sewing. And then before we reach the top, remember we're supposed to be stopping about 1/4 inch below the top part. So we shall be marking it and then cutting off that extra on the black piece. Then we shall finish off our top stitch. So basically that's what it's going to look like. We are done with this part. We're now going to move on to the next method, which is a bit longer, but you also get a very neat finish. So what you can do is you can experiment with both methods and you can let me know which one works better for you and which one has a better outcome. Alright, let's get right into the second method. So as you can see, we're going to do right sides facing each other, and then at the top we're going to leave 1/4 inch before we start, and then place the piece at that point. We shall be using 0.5 inches of sewing allowance, but before we start stitching, I'm going to go to the bottom of that piece and I'm going to mark the position where the pocket stops. Then I'll transfer it to the black piece, just like you see in the video, and then on that black piece I'm going to go up by 0.5 inches of sewing allowance, and then I'm going to start stitching. So ideally we have to stitch until we reach that point, and then when you reach there you're going to just notch it just like you see in the video, but make sure not to reach the stitch. Then you will turn it to the other side like that, and then you'll continue stitching and repeat the same process. By the way, to make it easier for you to notch, you can stop about 2 inches away from the area where you're going to be notching, and then repeat that process. Go up by 0.5 inches of sewing allowance. This time I want to show you how much you should notch. So in this case, let's just assume that we've finished to stitch using the 0.5 inches of sewing allowance, just like you can see in the video. So at that intersection, we're going to notch, but make sure you don't actually reach the part where it's intersecting, meaning the part where the stitch is going to pass, because in that case you'd be cutting the stitches, which is not supposed to be done. Anyways, after you're done with that, just continue like that and then flip it over to the other side. And then before you reach the top, you're just going to cut off that extra bit. Remember we left 1/4 inch at the top, so we shall just cut it off like that, similar to the other side, and then continue stitching, and that's basically it for this part. So this is what it's going to look like after you're done. Next thing is we're going to be flipping it to the other side, just like you see me do in the video. And after that, the next thing is we're going to be top stitching it, and that's to make sure that it has a better structure. So we're going to just hold it like that, and then we shall be top stitching it using 1/8 inch, that is less than 1/4 inch. So yes, we shall be top stitching it all the way around, but while you're top stitching, make sure that the black piece is not protruding. It should either be at the same level as the brown piece, or it should be slightly hidden behind the brown piece. Anyways, once you reach that first corner, you're just going to push the fabric in, just like you see me doing the video, and just get it out of the way, and then turn the piece like that, and then continue to stitch till you reach the other corner, and then you'll just repeat the same process till you're done with the whole thing. So that's what it looks like when you're done. So yes, as you can see, this method also gives you a very clean finish, and so you just have to choose which one works better for you. Make sure to let me know in the comment section which one works better and which one gives you a neater finish. Alright, let's move on to the flap. Alright guys, we shall be continuing this in part 2. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and if the video was helpful, make sure to leave a like and a comment. Alright guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.